So hello everyone, today we are going to take up the topic polynomials of class 10. To begin with, let us recollect a few basic concepts which are related to polynomials. Let's come to the literal meaning of the word polynomials. Polynomials can be bifurcated into two parts. Poly means many and nomials means term. So the expression consisting of one or more than one terms is known as a polynomial. In the bookish language, a polynomial px in one variable x is defined as, px stands for the polynomial in variable x, and this is given to be an into x raised to power n plus an minus 1 into x raised to power n minus 1 and so on added to a2 into x raised to power 2 plus a1 into x raised to power 1 plus a0 into x raised to power 0. Since anything raised to power 0 is 1, so this is just a0, where an minus 1, an are all real numbers and an cannot be 0. Now the most important part, the highest power of x is called the degree of the polynomial. For example, let's take up this polynomial 2x plus 1. Here the highest power of the variable, that is x, is 1. So this is a linear polynomial. Let's take up another example, say x cubed plus 2x plus 1. The highest power of the variable used in this is 2. So this is known as quadratic polynomial. Likewise, we have cubic polynomial like this. So the next thing that we should know is about the zero of the polynomial. This too we have taken up in class 9, and we are just going to recollect what is the meaning of the word zero of the polynomial. Now, zero of a polynomial is that value of the variable for which the polynomial becomes zero. For example, we have a polynomial, say x plus 1, right? If I put, let us give it the name of px. If I put x is equal to minus 1 in this one, I get p minus 1 is equal to minus 1 plus 1 is equal to 0. So putting up the value of x as minus 1, I am getting the polynomial as 0. This implies minus 1 is 0 of px. Fine. Likewise, we have zeros for the quadratic polynomials as well. We can take up one example like this, x cubed plus 3x plus 2. Let us name this as a polynomial px, since this is in variable x. And I want to find out the zeros of the polynomial. To find out the zeros of the polynomial, a quadratic polynomial, the first step is to factorize it. So, since it consists of 3 terms, we can split it by splitting of middle term. We can factorize it rather by splitting of middle terms. This is x cubed. For 3, we can put up the bracket. And now we have to look for 2 factors, so that when we multiply them, we get 2 into 1, 2, and when we add or subtract them, we should get 3. Now we know it very clearly that factors of 2 can only be 2 and 1, and 2 plus 1 will give us 3. Now let's open up this bracket. We get x cubed plus 2x plus 1x plus 2. In this step, we'll take up the common from the first 2. X is common over here, we get x plus 2 in the bracket. In the next term, nothing is common, it means 1 is common, since 1 is the identity element for multiplication and division. So, this is x plus 2. The next step is, bracket is common on either side of the plus sign, so this is one of the factors. And what is left will be forming the part of the second bracket, that is x plus 1, which will be the second factor. So, by definition of zero of the polynomial, if I have to find out the zeros of this polynomial, I'll put for zeros, put px is equal to 0. It means x cubed plus 3x should be equal to 0. Now since we have factorized it, I can put it down like x plus 2 into x plus 1 is equal to 0. Now we know very well that product of 2 numbers is 0 if one of them is 0, because 0 multiplied by anything only can give us 0. So either x plus 2 is equal to 0, so x is equal to minus 2, or x plus 1 is equal to 0, that is x is equal to minus 1, right? So it means minus 2 and minus 1 are two zeros of this polynomial px, which is quadratic in nature. Any quadratic, now the number of zeros depends upon the degree of the polynomial. Any polynomial of degree n can have maximum n zeros, minimum 0. For example, if this is quadratic x squared plus 3x plus 2, its degree is 2, so it can have maximum 2 residues. Fine. Similarly, this was linear, so it has maximum 1 0. Fine. Minimum number of zeros that any polynomial can have is 0. That will take up in another example after this. I'll just erase this part and let you know by taking another example how the minimum number can be 0. I'm taking up the first example of a polynomial px is equal to x cube, and I have to find out the zeros of this polynomial. Now, by the definition of the zeros of the polynomial, if I have to find the zeros of this one, it means I'll have to put px equal to 0. That means x square is equal to 0. So, x is going to be 0 only. So, it means in this case, 0 is 0 of px. This is one example where we had only one zero of a quadratic polynomial. I am taking up another example now. Say px is equal to x square plus 2. Now I have to find the zeros of this polynomial. So for zeros, put px is equal to 0. It means x square plus 2 is equal to 0. So x square is equal to minus 2. That implies x is going to be the square root of minus 2, which is not real. Since square root of minus 2 is not real, so this polynomial is not going to have any zeros. No zeros are possible. No zeros are possible. That is, number of zeros of this quadratic polynomials is just a numeric 0. We can put here 4 zeros. Now let us take up another example of a quadratic polynomial. Say px is equal to x square minus 4. Now look, again by the definition of 0 of the polynomial, 4 zeros will put px is equal to 0. So it means x square minus 4 is equal to 0. So x square is equal to 4. So x is equal to plus minus 2. It means in this case we are having two zeros of the polynomial. So number of zeros in this case is 2. So a maximum number of zeros that a polynomial can have is equal to the degree of the polynomial, and the minimum number of zeros is the numeric 0. We have to keep this in mind. Next, in class 10, we have to begin with the geometrical meaning of the zeros of the polynomial. In the next part of the question, I'll show you how a linear polynomial can be represented graphically and how a quadratic polynomial can be represented graphically. After that, we'll be giving you a pick of few graphs from where we will orally find out how many zeros a polynomial can have geometrically. Please note this down by the time. Right now we are going to concentrate on geometrical meaning of zeros of polynomials. I have taken two examples on the board, one of the linear polynomial and the other of the quadratic polynomial. Let's concentrate on the linear polynomial. In general, a linear polynomial px is given by ax plus p. It means if I have to find out the zeros of this polynomial, I'll put px equal to 0. That is, I have to put ax plus b is equal to 0. So on working out, I get x is equal to minus b upon a. It means minus b upon a has to be the 0 of the polynomial. Now, the same thing will take it up geometrically. So straight line will intersect the x-axis at only one point, that is minus b upon a and 0. Because when x is minus b upon a, obviously y will be 0. Let us take an example. पॉलिनोमियल को हम 2x+3 लेते हैं. For the purpose of drawing the graph, we take it as y is equal to 2x+3. We draw this box, we insert the 3 coordinates. जब हम x को 0 डालते हैं तो x comes out to be when we put x is equal to 0, we get y is equal to 3. When we put x is equal to 1, we get y is equal to 5. And when we put x is equal to -2, we'll get y is equal to -1. Is that correct? The next step is we are going to plot the graph. And my students know it very clearly how to plot the graph with the help of these 3 coordinates. This is x-axis, this is y-axis, and the scale we have taken 10 small scales is equal to 1 unit. The 3 coordinates were 0, 3, 1, 5, -2 and -1. When we join them, they pass through the x-axis at a point -3/2 and 0, right? Because on x-axis is y is always 0. So, अगर यही चीज हम algebraically calculate करें, तो let us see what is the 0. Put this px is equal to 0. यानी put 2x+3 is equal to 0. We'll get x is equal to -3/2. It means either we take it out geometrically or graphically, or we take out algebraically, the 0 of the polynomial remains the same. So if I were to ask to identify from the graph what is the 0 of the polynomial, I'll say 0 of the polynomial is that point where the line intersects the x-axis. They did not ask for the coordinates of the point, they just asked for the 0 of the polynomial. So 0 of the polynomial is only one number. That is the point where the line is intersecting the x-axis. For this equation, it means the 0 of the polynomial is -3/2. Now let us see. One thing, good news for you is you are not supposed to draw the graph. You will be just given graphs on the paper in the examination room or in the classrooms, and you will just have to identify how many zeros are there. It was just to build up your basics so that you don't have any queries in your mind कि कैसे बना वो कैसे बना. Now let us move to quadratic polynomial. Quadratic polynomial, the standard form is px is equal to a into x square plus px plus c. I am taking up an example. Px is equal to x square minus 3x minus 4, right? Instead of px, I put out the y. So now my equation is in terms of x and y. Y is equal to x square minus 3x minus 4. Since I was to build up a quadratic polynomial, so I need minimum of 7 to 8 values to form the parabola. The geometrical representation of a quadratic polynomial is known as parabola. It faces upwards. Its mouth is open upwards if the coefficient of x square is positive, and its mouth is open downwards if the coefficient of x square is negative. You can keep this thing in mind. Okay, now let's plot these points. I have -2 and 6. I have -1 and 0. I have 0 and -4. I have 1 and -6, I have 2 and -6, 3 and -4, 4 and 0, 5 and 6. And in whole of this, what I observed, the complete parabola, it intersected the x-axis at 2 points. That is at -1 and 4. It means -1 and 4 are going to be the zeros of the quadratic polynomial. It means -1 को अगर मैं इसमें डालूं इस पॉलिनोमियल में तो y 0 हो जाएगा, यानी px 0 हो जाएगा. सिमिलरली अगर मैं इस पॉलिनोमियल में y को 4 डाल देती हूँ तो भी इस पॉलिनोमियल की वैल्यू 0 हो जाएगी. That is why they are known as zeros of the polynomials. Again, I repeat, graphically, if I am given a parabola and somebody asks me to let me know how many zeros are there in this parabola, so I'll see to it at how many points this parabola is intersecting the x-axis. So this parabola is intersecting the x-axis at 2 points, and these, of course, I'm not going to mention the coordinates. I'm going to mention only the numerics on which it is going to intersect. It is intersecting the x-axis at -1 and 4, and these are the zeros of polynomial. Now I'm going to justify this using the algebraic technique. What we used to do when doing algebraically, we used to put the px, yani the polynomial was x square minus 3x minus 4. So first of all, I'm going for splitting of middle term to take out the factors. Instead of 3, I've put down the bracket and the rest remain the same.
the factors I was supposed to take off 4 ones are 4. I have to supposed to find two numbers. When multiply gives me -4, but when I add or subtract, I should get -3. So 4 minus 1 was satisfying my condition. When I opened the packet, I got x here -4x plus x minus 4. The factors came out to be x minus 4 into x plus 1. Now that I have to find the zeros of polynomial, I'll have to put px equal to 0. Px equal to 0 means I'll have to put the factors equal to 0. So x minus 4 into x plus 1 is equal to 0. And the same old thing, product of two numbers is 0 if one of them is 0. So either x minus 4 is 0 or x plus 1 is 0. If I put x minus 4 is 0, my x will be 4. And when I put x plus 1 equal to 0, my x will be minus 1. So you just observe the same thing. I put x is equal to 4 and x is equal to minus 1 as zeros algebraically, and this is what I got graphically or geometrically as well. You can see that the parabola is intersecting the x-axis at -1 and 4. So this is how algebraic technique and the geometrical technique, they are coming up to the same result, howsoever the way is different. Again, I repeat, you are not supposed to draw the graphs. You will just be given the drawn graphs from where you will have to identify how many zeros a given polynomial are having. Now, just another thing I want to explain over here. The number of zeros of any polynomial depends upon the degree of the polynomial. When we are talking of a linear polynomial is going to have at most one zero. It may not have any zero. मतलब एक से कम हो सकता है लेकिन एक से ज़्यादा नहीं हो सकता. When I say at most one zero means एक zero तो पक्का ही है. एक से कम यानी कोई भी zero नहीं हो सकता लेकिन एक से ज़्यादा तो नहीं होगा. A quadratic polynomial will have at most two zeros only. मीन्स उसके ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा दो zeros हो सकते हैं. ये possibility है कि एक हो जाए या कोई भी zero ना हो. पर दो से ज़्यादा तो नहीं होंगे. When we consider a cubic polynomial, it has degree 3. It means it will have at most 3 zeros. ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा इसके 3 zeros होंगे. 3 से ज़्यादा नहीं हो सकते, 3 से कम हो सकते हैं, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन कि ग्राफ एक्स एक्सिस को कितने पॉइंट्स पे काटता है या algebraically कितने रियल zeros numbers आ रहे as factors or as zeros. So it may have less than 3, but it will never have more than 3 in a cubic polynomial. It may even have 1. So that was all about zeros of polynomial geometrically. Now I'll draw few graphs from the textbook so that you should know what the question is and how to answer it. Thank you. In the meantime, just take it down. We'll move to the next. So boys and girls, now we are dealing with exercise 2.1 of NCERT, and the question has given us that the graphs of y is equal to px are given to you and you have to find out the number of zeros. If you remember what I did a few moments back, I said number of zeros are identified from the number of points where the graph intersects the x-axis, right? So now look at the first one. It is a linear graph, but it is not intersecting the x-axis at anywhere. It is intersecting the y-axis, but it's meaningless to us if we have to find the number of zeros. So since this line is not intersecting the x-axis on any point, so the number of zeros is 0, the numeric 0. Come up to the second one. In the second one, the graph is intersecting the x-axis at only one point. So there is only 1 0. In the third one, the graph is intersecting the x-axis at 3 points. So it has 3 zeros. In the fourth, it is a parabola facing upwards. Means the coefficient of x here was positive. Yani a is positive. Here the graph is intersecting the x-axis at 2 points. Right? So there are 2 zeros. In this one, the graph is intersecting the x-axis at 4 points. So it has 4 zeros. In the sixth part, the graph is intersecting the x-axis at 1 point and touching at 2 points. It is touching at 1 point means 1 0. Touching at this point means 1 0. So on the whole, there are 3 zeros. Maybe when it is touching here, there are more than 1 values of x possible over here. The roots may be more, but the number of zeros will remain only 3. By definition of zeros of geometrical representation, the number of points where the graph intersects or touches the x-axis, that gives us the number of zeros. So number of zeros in this case also remains 3. These are two extra persons. Here the parabola is facing upwards. It means A is positive, but it's not intersecting the x-axis anywhere. It means no zero is possible. In the last one, we have seen the parabola facing downwards. It means coefficient of x cube was negative, that is A was negative. But it is intersecting the x-axis at 2 points. It means it has two zeros. So this was all about identifying the number of zeros geometrically or what we call graphically. Thank you so much, and now we'll move to the second exercise. Now let us deal with the second topic of this chapter, that is relationship between the zeros and the coefficients of a polynomial. To explain this concept, I am picking up one polynomial px which is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 8. First of all, let us compare x squared minus 2x minus 8 with ax squared plus bx plus c. If you remember, this is the standard form of a quadratic polynomial. If I am to compare this one with this, the coefficient of x squared is known as a. Here there is no coefficient of x squared. It means a is 1. What is b? B is the coefficient of x, and the coefficient of x over here is minus 2. Never forget the sign over here. Okay. Then what is c? C is the constant. C is minus 8. I again repeat, never ever forget the sign. So we have the value of a is 1, b is minus 2 and c is minus 8. After this, take out the value of minus b upon a. अगर मन में आए कि मैम ऐसे क्यों कह रहे हैं, तो you just get the results a few minutes later. The value of minus b upon a will be, ये minus अपनी जगह पे रहेगा, b की जगह minus 2 आ गया and a is 1. So we sort it out. Minus into minus is plus, so minus b upon a is just 2. After that, take out the value of c upon a. We have just modularized these coefficients. C upon a is minus 8 upon 1. So this is minus 8. Remember, minus b upon a has turned out to be 2 and c upon a has turned out to be minus 8. Now we'll work upon the zeros of it. Name this as 1 and this as 2. I am dividing the page into two parts, and on this side I'll work upon the zeros of the polynomial. The polynomial with me is x squared minus 2x minus 8. Isn't it so? Now we are going to go for splitting of middle term. For splitting of middle term, consider 8 and the coefficient of x squared. Coefficient of x squared is 1. So 8 ones are 8. I am going to take the prime factors of 8. This is 2 4s are 8, 2 2s are 4. Now I have to manipulate these factors in such a way, I have to take out two numbers, so that when I multiply them, I should get minus 8, and when I add or subtract, I should get minus 2. If you follow this technique, you will not have to bother more about the signs. Do it somewhat like this. Write down x squared as it is, minus को अपनी जगह रहने दें, सिर्फ middle term की जगह bracket डाल दीजिए. Keep everything else as it was. अब 2 की जगह आपने दो नंबर्स डालने हैं, वो कैसे डालने हैं? Now let's start from here. 4 2s are 8 होता है, right? 8 के फैक्टर स्प्लिट करने ढंग क्या है? एक है 8 1s are 8. 8 plus 1 will be 9 and 8 minus 1 will be 7. So ये हमारी पर्पस सॉल्व नहीं करता. Then we come up to 4 and 2. 4 2s are 8 होते हैं, correct? 4 minus 2 2 होता है, ये हमारी पर्पस सॉल्व कर सकते हैं. So I'm going to pen down 4 minus 2 over here. Now let's see how it works. Open the bracket. Minus into 4 is minus 4. X is also multiplying with 4. So x also comes over here. Minus into minus is plus. 2 into x is 2x minus 8. Correct? Now pick up the first two and underline the next two as well. From the first two, we get x is common. Whatever is left, we'll put in the bracket. Here x minus 4. You can take it the other way around. X we have taken as common, so x divided by x is x, and 4x divided by x is also 4. Here plus sign is in, we'll take plus only. 2 और 8 में 2 common होता है, we are taking out 2. Now start with the bracket. 2x divided by 2 is x. ये साइन as it is, since बाहर प्लस का था तो अंदर जो भी साइन है वो वैसे ही रहेगा. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now look at this. प्लस के इधर और इधर द ब्रैकेट इज सेम, इट मीन्स वी आर ऑन द राइट पाथ। x माइनस 4 को कॉमन ले लीजिए और जो कुछ बचा उसे दूसरी ब्रैकेट में डाल दीजिए एंड वी हैव x plus 2 over here. These are the two factors of this polynomial. We have to find out the zeros. Put x minus 4 into x plus 2 is equal to 0. Must pen down 4 zeros. 4 zeros, put x minus 4 into x plus 2 is equal to 0. And again I repeat, product of two numbers is 0 if one of them is 0. So either x minus 4 is 0, we get x is equal to 4, or x plus 2 is 0, we get x is equal to minus 2. These are the two zeros of the polynomial. You can give them the names if you want. Sum of the zeros, let the zeros be alpha and beta. Such that alpha is 4 and beta is minus 2. This is not essential in this step. You can even write down in words sum of the zeros. So alpha plus beta is 4 and alpha into beta is 4 into minus 2. Alpha plus beta is sum of the zeros. So 4 minus 2 is 2. Product of the zero is 4 into minus 2. This is minus 8. Mind you, this is the sum of the zeros. And this is the product of the zeros. Now let's observe certain results. Sum of the zeros, name this step as 3 and this step as 4. Now look at the first and the third step, from first and third. माइनस बी अपॉन ए भी 2 था और सम ऑफ द जीरोस भी 2 है. इट मीन्स व्हाट इज द रिजल्ट, व्हाट इज द रिलेशनशिप वी आर डिराइविंग. सम ऑफ द जीरोस is equal to minus b upon a. In words you can write down minus coefficient of x upon coefficient of x here. And now look at the second and the fourth. The second step and the fourth step. What do you observe? C upon A की वैल्यू भी -8 थी और अल्फा इंटू बीटा की वैल्यू भी -8 है. I beg your pardon. C upon A की वैल्यू -8 थी और अल्फा इंटू बीटा की वैल्यू भी -8 है. So this implies product of zeros is equal to C upon A. So these are the standard results. They work in all quadratic equations. You can keep them in mind. Likewise, you have other equations, other polynomials in exercise 2.2 where the factorization has to be done in different ways. I've done one example in which splitting of middle term was to be done, and you can do the likewise questions of exercise 1, part 2, part 3 and part 6 you can do yourself. Mind you, in part 3, do not forget to rearrange the polynomial. It should be 6x cube minus 7x minus 3. This is, I am talking about the third part of the first question. After that, you can start with the steps that I have taken up in this question. I hope you have followed, or I'll explain once again because this is something new for you. We had the, हमारे पास polynomial था px is equal to x square minus 2x minus 8, right? Our question was, find the zeros of the quadratic polynomial and verify its relationship between the zeros and the coefficients. To begin with, I compared x square minus 2x minus 8 with the standard polynomial. So a came out to be 1, b came out to be minus 2 and c came out to be minus 8, right? After that we did minus b upon a and c upon a. Minus b upon a की वैल्यू निकाली तो we got 2, c upon a की वैल्यू निकाली तो we got minus 8, right? Now I divided the page into the second part where I was going to find out the zeros of the polynomial. It was a quadratic polynomial. The technique left with me was splitting of middle term. So I used the technique of splitting term and I got two factors, x minus 4 into x plus 2. Now for zeros, put these factors equal to 0. X minus 4 into x plus 2 is equal to 0. Now product of two numbers is 0 if one of them is 0. So either x minus 4 is 0. If x minus 4 is 0, it means x is 4. Put x plus 2 is equal to 0, it means then x will be equal to minus 2. These are basically the zeros. If you want, you can give them the names. Some books give it the name of p and q, the other books give it the name of m and n, some other books give it the name of alpha and beta. So let zeros be alpha and beta such that alpha is 4 and beta is minus 2. If you don't feel the need, you may not put the names right now. Now what do we get? Alpha plus beta kiya to 4 minus 2 is 2. That was the sum of the zeros. Product निकाला तो alpha into beta is 4 into minus 2, that is minus 8. Again, that is I already said product of zeros. Now compare these four results with one another. Sum of zeros की वही वैल्यू आ रही है जो माइनस b अपॉन a की थी. Product of zeros की वही वैल्यू आ रही है जो c अपॉन a की थी, right? So this is the relationship we have derived from the zeros of the polynomial and from the coefficients of the polynomial. Sum of the zeros will be always equal to minus b upon a, that is minus coefficient of x upon coefficient of x here, and product of zeros will always be equal to c upon a, that is constant term upon coefficient of x here. I hope you have understood it. The more you do it, the more you will get it. And now I'll take up another type of question of this. Most probably I am going to take up the fourth part of the first question. By the time, note this down. In this question number 1 part 4, we have a polynomial 4 into u square plus 8u, and we have to find the relationship between the zeros and the coefficients of this polynomial. So first of all, I am going to find out the coefficients. Compare 4u square plus 8u with standard polynomial ax square plus bx plus c. So what do we get? We get a is equal to 4. Basically, instead of x, they have used u this time, so it hardly makes any difference. B is equal to 8, and since there is no constant term, c will be 0. As we have initiated earlier, we'll find out the value of minus b upon a. This will be minus 8 upon 4. We cancel, we get minus 2. So minus b upon a has turned out to be minus 2. Now let's find out c upon a. C upon a is 0 upon 4. It means that is 0. So c upon a is 0. Let this be 1 and this be 2. Now let's find out the zeros of this polynomial. For zeros of this polynomial, although this is quadratic in nature, we cannot go for splitting of middle term because constant is missing. So the other technique left with us is taking out the common. As we can see, 4 and 8 goes in one table, 4 is common, highest common factor is 4. Amongst u square and u, the HCF is u. So what are we left inside? 4 into u square divided by 4u, it will be u. 8u divided by 4u will be 2. So this is what we have got as factorization. Now for zeros, put 4u into u plus 2 is equal to 0. So either 4u is equal to 0, it means u is equal to 0 upon 4, u is 0, or u plus 2 is equal to 0, that is u is equal to minus 2. These are the two zeros. If you want, you can give them the names of alpha and beta. Let zeros be alpha and beta such that alpha is 0 and beta is minus 2. Sum of the zeros, let's find out alpha plus beta. That comes out to be 0, minus 2, that is minus 2. Let's find out the product of zeros. That is alpha into beta. This turns out to be 0 into minus 2. That is 0. So what have we got? Sum alpha and beta has turned out to be minus 2, and alpha into beta, any product of zeros has turned out to be 0. This is your equation number 3, and let's put up to equation number 4. Now observe all the 4 equations. Observe equation 1 and equation 3. What do we get? From 1 and 3, the result is sum of the zeros is equal to minus b upon a, and product of zeros from 3 and 4. This is from 3 and 4, or rather 2 and 4, I'm sorry. Product of zeros is c upon a. This means minus coefficient of x upon coefficient of x here. Here it means constant term upon coefficient of x here. I hope you are able to get it. First we took out the coefficients. We took them in the form of p upon a, minus p upon a and c upon a. Thereafter we worked upon the zeros. Then we took out the relations from the equations 1, 2, 3 and 4. Since these are the accepted relations, they are always going to remain the same. It's always going to happen that the sum of the zeros is going to be equal to minus p upon a, and the product of zeros is always going to be the c upon a, where I hope you understand b is the coefficient of x rather, and c is the constant, a is the coefficient of x here. We'll take one more example, rather question from the first exercise, that is 5th part, which is different from the rest of them. In the meantime, note this down. The 5th one is t square minus 15. T square minus 15, I believe. This is again a quadratic polynomial in t, and the question is we have to find the relationship between the zeros and the coefficients of the polynomial. So first step remains as it is. I am going to compare it so that I get the coefficients, the values of a, b and c. Compare t square minus 15 with standard polynomial ax square plus bx plus c. What do we get? T square is acting like x square, and the coefficient of t square is 1. It means the coefficient of x square is 1, so a is 1. We don't see any t in the given polynomial, right? So it means there's no x over there, so we'll put b equal to 0. Yes, we can see the c, the constant is there, and c is minus 15. As by convention, we'll first find out minus b upon a. Minus b upon a means minus 0 upon 1, that turns out to be 0. So minus b upon a is 0. That turns out to be our first result. Then we are going to find out c upon a. This is minus 15 upon 1. So this is minus 15. So this is our second result. C upon a has turned out to be minus 15. Now next we are going to find out the zeros of the polynomial. To find out the zeros of polynomial, of a quadratic polynomial, we have a few techniques. We know splitting of middle term is there, but that is possible only when all the three terms are there. Just we did in the previous question, two terms were there, we were in a position to take out common. Now there's nothing common over here, but something strikes me over here. This is a perfect square and I can put up in this 15 in the form square root of 15 whole square, right? So that is what I am going to do. So this has become in the form of a square minus b square, and now I can factorize it into a minus b into a plus b. This is t minus root 15 into t plus root 15, and putting down in the bracket using a square minus b square is equal to a minus b into a plus b. So I've got the two factors, and you know the very well, next step, when we get the factors for zeros, we put them equal to 0. So for zeros, put t minus root 15 into t plus root 15 is equal to 0. So either t minus root 15 is 0, this implies t is equal to root 15, or t plus root 15 is equal to 0, t is equal to minus root 15. Fine. Now I've got two zeros also. Let zeros be alpha and beta. Such that alpha is root 15 and beta is minus root 15. Now let's take out the sum of the zeros and the product of the zeros. Sum of the zeros. यानी I am taking out alpha plus beta. तो क्या आया? Root 15 minus root 15. This is equal to 0. यानी alpha plus beta has turned out to be 0. Now let's move for the product of zeros. Product of zeros is alpha into beta. It means root 15 into minus root 15. What is it? Plus into minus is minus. Root 15 into root 15 will be 15. So alpha into beta has turned out to be minus 15. Now compare 1, 2, 3 and 4 equations. Let's see we get the same result as we've been getting earlier or not. So what do we get? Sum of zeros from equation 1 and equation 3. From 1 and 3. Sum of zeros is equal to minus b upon a, right? That is minus coefficient of x upon minus coefficient of x upon coefficient of x here, and product of zeros is equal to c upon a, that is constant term upon coefficient of x. Here we must pen it down side by side. Minus coefficient of x upon coefficient of x here, and here constant term upon coefficient of x here. Note this down carefully, and now we are in the position to do exercise 2.1 completely, although it's just verbal, and exercise 2.2, first question, all the parts. Must do all the examples preceding this exercise.